It's the 10th of October. I've come down to the plot just to pretty much drop some fence posts off and have a little bit of a look of where things are up to. I've not been able to get down here for a month. Well, it is pretty much bang on 28 days since I was last here, because unfortunately I had a bit of a chest injury, so I kind of damaged one of my chest muscles, so I've been on pretty much light duties and doing absolutely nothing really. How it happened, I'm not quite sure. I had a bit of a fall in the back garden while I was holding a plant pot, and instead of me falling with it and getting a cane in the face, I kind of braced myself on the pot and it jolted everything back. So that's the only thing I can think that's done it, but these things happen. But I'd rather a damaged chest than a cane through the face, so it just goes to show you've got to be a bit careful. But accidents do happen. So we'll have a look around. Things have come on a little bit quicker than I thought they would, to be honest. I know things should start becoming ready around now, some things, but you know, the cauliflower, because it's not clapton, it's that Sapporo, and it's ready a lot quicker. Some of it's a bit tatty, but you can trim it up, you know. And like I say, it's all bonus harvest. This, you know, I've had the initial season's harvest, and now this is all bonus stuff. So there's plenty to go at. Some beans as well. I mean, I'll pick some of these. I'll try and get as much done today as I can, because I'm probably not going to be able to get up here again for another week or so, but I have got access to a computer for a few days, so I thought I'd come up, drop these posts off and do a bit of an update of where things are at, and I'll probably try and do something from the garden in the middle of the week if I can, and see if I can get it all uploaded to keep you up to date. So I'll get the camera and we'll have a look around where we're up to. I think first of all, as usual, we'll start up in the fruit cage. No more blueberries, they were all picked in the last update. Brussels sprouts, they're not supported, but hopefully they don't blow, because it saved me a job if I don't have to support them. I'll have a look at the courgette plant in a minute. I've no idea what's lurking behind there. I need to pull some of this foliage off because we're starting to get some buttons now. These are actually a bit further on the ones at home, to be honest. They're a bit slow. I've never grown these ones before. Variety is called Brendan, I think it's called. We'll just have a look at this courgette plant, see if there's anything. It's oh yeah, another great big thing there, a little courgette. But I'm going to go back to growing courgettes in the ground because I've struggled in pots this year. We've been quite poor, and considering this was a bit of a reject plant that was just chucked down here, I've had more off that. So and I've got, you know, excess bed space now, so to speak. But I might put them in a bit later in the season after the potatoes or something like that. That's the fruit cage. You know, it needs a bit of a tidy up in here. It's not too bad, so I'm not bothered about doing any work in there today. I've still got all these onion frame things up. I need to get them stripped down, but they're not essential right now, not in my way. Right, this is, let's get out of the light. This is the Iron Man broccoli. You can see, I mean, it's pretty much, there's pretty much a head on everything, but they're not at the point of blowing. So, you know, obviously we're not in a super dry spell, so they will probably keep. But I'll see what time I've got, but that's probably one of the last things I'll do today. You know, I might take a couple of the bigger heads and let some of these smaller ones, and obviously side shoots then, but I might not even take any side shoots, I don't know, because I'm really short on freezer space, because I harvested the leeks with the help of my missus the other day. I just chopped them up, because a lot of them had gone to seed, so I thought I'll get them out, chop them up. So I've got about 9 bags of chopped leeks in the freezer. What else is going on? Beans. There's quite a few beans on these. They are handy, the dwarf French beans, but I think you're better off like really successionally sowing them. You know, sowing some once a month. You know, from sort of May right through till, you know, August, something like that. And just because they don't pump out as much as, you know, French climbing beans, but you get a good few picks off them. The purple ones have been great, to be honest. I mean, when you cook them, they go green. But I'd probably say, I can't remember the name of them, to be honest. I'll see if there's a tag down here. Velauer, they're called. So Velauer, the Ferrari and the Safari are good. They're all, them 3 ones I can say they are good. Not sure about these. I'm not sure what these ones are. Prince, I think these are called. Not a big fan because they're just like a big chewy hard runner bean, so I won't be doing them. Like I say, it was just a load of seeds I had, so I thought I'll try some varieties of dwarfs and see which does well. But it's also a handy thing. I don't have to sort of set canes up all the time, and when my potatoes come out, I know I can put beans in, and I can, you know, once I get my first earlies out, I can put some in, and then I can be cropping them, you know, from sort of like mid-July onwards, you know, which is good for me. I will try and upload some other bits if I can put them together that I've had up here, you know, because obviously I've got somewhere I've taken my sweet corn out. You know, I can't remember if a video planting any of this or not, I can't remember, but it needs a bit of a weeding. This is the endive, it's all doing okay. That's the endive, I think it's a Romanesca or something like that, but it's a big long flat leaf. But that's pretty much for cane, you know. I mean, endive, it's a bit bitter, it can be okay as a baby salad, you know, mixed with other stuff, or you can blanch it. But it's, you know, it's a bit complex blanching, to be honest, because you risk rotting it off, but never mind. I've got some rocket in there, so I'll probably see if I can just chop some of that out. Radishes will be massive, so they're just going to go straight in the compost heap. My carrots have just sort of started to rot off. I don't know why. When I pull the radish out, they might get a bit more airflow around and perk up, but we'll see how we get on with them. Cauliflower. You know, there's heads, but they're a little bit tatty. There's a massive head here. There's a massive head there as well. So I might switch over to this variety next year instead of the Clapton, because it comes ready. It takes us pretty much the same duration as a broccoli, because usually, you know, I have to pick one and then get the other one out. Or I might do a mix of both, at least then I can pick some of this and then the Clapton will be a few weeks after. I wasn't expecting it to be ready for about another 3 weeks yet, to be honest. What have we got in this bed? Weeds, a few weeds. Beetroot. There's probably roots on that. And these Rigoletto, still standing. These were from like I can't remember when I sold these. February, March, something like that. You know, and they've not split or erupted or anything like that, and they still look pretty damn good to me. So I'll take another one today. So they're definitely on next year's growing list. Yeah, that variety is called Rigoletto. Definitely worth a go. You know, you could probably, instead of sowing them all at the same time, you could start sowing them from February, sow some February, March and April, and just put, I don't know, maybe 3 out at a time if you've got the space to do it that way, and then you can sort of pick them. I might leave one to see how well it stands in the colder months. It's always handy to do, you know, it's sacrificing a plant just to find out how it does. And these are just the old roots off them. So, you know, I could pick them as greens, so I'll probably leave them in. You know, people, you know, leaving stuff in the beds over winter causes problems, but yeah, it can do, but, you know, there's got to be a balance in there of both good and bad pests and whatnot, so it sorts itself out. It's never really affected me before. Not sure how these cabbages are done. They went in a little bit late, these, to be honest. They're like a real small heart on them. Obviously there's big greens, which are great. They're good for coleslaws, them, to be honest. These are some durum early that have gone mental. I had some spring onions, but they're just going to get ripped out. I'll take a load of these at some point for cane. I've just put some more in the back garden the other day, just so that where I think me beans were in the back garden, where the leeks were, I had some that I'd sown and I put them out, because there's a lot of stuff I didn't get around to putting out because I just couldn't go out and water it or do anything. But these are all the January King and Tundra. They need like weeding and taking all the sort of lower foliage off, and maybe hilling up to give them some support, because, you know, these are going to stop in over winter. It can get a bit slug infested, so I brought some slug pellets. I know it's not everyone's great sort of idea, but needs must sometimes. So we'll get on, do a bit of harvesting, and we'll have a look at everything after, because I haven't got a lot of battery power on my phone, so I didn't intend coming down here for the day. It was just to drop some stuff off, and I'll probably just for now dump everything on top of that raised bed, because I've only got one tray with me to put everything in, so I'll have to umpteen trips over to the van to get it all back. But, you know, like I say, I'm not going to get up here again for at least another week, and that's weather permitting. This time of year it tends to the floods begin. So we'll crack on and we'll have a look at everything when I've got it pulled up. I'll lift this net up because I don't think there's any cabbage whites about, but you never know. But at least they're not going to really cause too much damage this time of year. You know, because I need to start thinking about putting beds to sleep, and, you know, if I'm going to top them up this side of, you know, winter, or top them up in the spring. But I'm hoping I've got some membrane that I used to put on. I've not really put it on for a few years. I should have done, really. so they're actually covered up over winter. Just I don't want it to encourage like habitat for voles and stuff like that to live in, because when you go and plant stuff in, you know, voles and mice and rats and stuff, they furrow around underneath and just put air pockets in, and obviously that in turns with air pruning roots off. So you get, you know, a lot of plants, they start to do well, they hit the air pocket, and then they sort of wilt. Don't do any more than that, you know, or bolt and go to seed because you just get stressed out. It's usually a case most years I have to come down and start walking over everything, just because they keep coming and digging stuff up. Once it kind of gets to about June time, you know, they'll bugger off. But, well, this is a good time as any daddy longlegs about, or the crane fly, to let them fly out. Obviously because I have a problem with the larvae form, which is a dreaded leather jacket. So there's quite a bit to go out here. We'll see what I've got. I don't know if I've got that many tools with me to actually do a proper harvest. I might have to use a wood saw at the bottom of them. I've got my secateurs. But, I'll just get this. We'll get this one out because it's covered over. It's pretty big. Snap hot folds off like that. Try and get underneath somehow and off with its head. You know, it's pretty clean. I can't see any slugs. No doubt there'll be the odd one knocking around in there. So yeah, these are Sapporo, these cauliflower. Decent size, not like super tightly compacted. But might be worth this type of thing if you've got a wet season, covering the head, probably protect it a little bit more, because obviously some of these that haven't been covered, they've coloured off a bit and gone a bit manky. The old way we used to fold a few leaves over, put a clothes peg on it, but anything like that, you see, it's somewhere slug will like to go because it's kind of safe and secure. But you know, I'll get a decent bit. I mean, I've still got a lot of cauliflower, and as some of you know, it's not one of my favourite veggies anyway. More for, you know, my dad and me, my missus this. I don't mind the broccoli, but I'm not going to do as much cauliflower next year. I've decided that. So I'm only probably going to do 2 smaller runs. So I'll probably do a mixed bed of cabbage and cauliflower next year, which kind of frees a bed up for other things. So I need to start looking at growing other things, providing they're going to get eaten. Right, so we'll crack on with the rest of these, and then I'll probably, you know, clear all these cauliflower plants out and put them in the compost heap. Right, I've done a bit of work down that end of the plot. I've harvested obviously the cauliflower, one of the cabbage, had a bit of a tidy up of them beds. I've still got to pick some beans yet, but I thought I'll come up this end and deal with this, because I want to pick some lettuce last, because I need to soak that a little bit, because otherwise lettuce tends to go a bit limp when you pick it, and it's sort of left for a little bit, you know, doesn't take long for it to go limp, you know. So I usually like to soak it for like, you know, 5-10 minutes and then drain it off, and it'll get home all right, and then I can sort of wash it proper at home, then bag it up. But I'll probably take some of this broccoli, because I've got to take the net off anyway to do a bit of clearing out in there, so I'll take some of it. But this is the first thing it's had in this bed. You know, if you're new to the channel, I only built this bed this year. I had a look at some data before on my phone, and it was around the end of June, I think, I built this bed, and I filled it up with whatever compost I had in my compost bin and what I used to have in the beds here before. Just a load of junk, cardboard and that. And then I left it, you know, until my seedlings were ready, and then I planted it. I think it was on like the 26th, end of July it was planted up. So they've only been in here, not even 60 days they've been in this bed. So you can't grumble really. You know, for a bed being built, filled and then harvested all within 100 days, which is about roughly, I always tend to say, you know, a lot of seedlings, broccoli and things like that, 80 to 100 days from sowing to harvest, about that. But obviously there's weather elements that come into it. There is a video on my channel about how I do these nets. So if you just sort of like YouTube how I build my hoop nets and just put Andy 160676, you'll find it. And if I can remember, I'll put it in the description below. So we'll it's just basically this lower foliage. It's no good, you know. It's just something that's going to harbour problems. So you can clear a lot of this stuff. It just allows a bit of airflow somewhere that slugs can't hide. But luckily, broccoli is one of them things. It doesn't tend to have too much problem with slugs. You do get some sort of like a big caterpillar. I think it's a moth. Can make a little bit of damage to the heads, but it's an opportunity to weed. You obviously get thistles. This time of year it's still warm enough for weed seeds to germinate, so if you can pick them out, you know, even if you're shutting your beds down, you know, it's less weeding to do at the start of next year because they've already germinated. And I'll probably, you know, I'll probably not cover them over for a couple of weeks yet, and then it gives anything else a chance to germinate. Because you only need a bit of sunshine. But overall, I mean, it doesn't seem to get quite as much light down this end of the bed. Obviously, when the sun sets, well, this time of year anyway. But it's got enough, you know, to get a crop. So it's just a case of going round. I'll clear it, but it doesn't have to be brilliant. But it's just less things for problems to hide on. You know, and it does no good because it just ends up mouldy. I haven't even got my big tub to put all the stuff in, so I'm totally unprepared today. Didn't intend on doing any of this, but it's a nice surprise, you know. And it's not raining, thank God. But I can tell like the old ground's starting to get soft underfoot because this plot is an absolute floodplain in the winter months. You know, I do struggle to grow anything because even still rot off in the bed sometimes. The roots just get that wet. Like with broccoli, you've not grown it before. When you take the main head off, you don't have to remove the plant because it'll start sending out side shoots. They won't grow into like full-size broccoli heads. Some of them might, but certain varieties, you know, differ. This is one called Iron Man. I usually grow equils, but I had some Iron Man seeds and didn't have any equils, so I thought, well, I'll shove these in and see how they do. I like both plants. The equils tend to be a little bit more compact. You know, you've not got a lot of room. But taste-wise, you know, they're both good varieties. It's just kind of getting into the middle area without damaging too much. But like I say, this is a complete bonus crop, this. If you've got the seeds, pop them in, and if you get something, then it's a bonus. Because, you know, you're not really going to have any more broccoli ready till next year. So if you can kind of get 2 crops out of a season, it can cover you over the winter. So if you're going to grow to store things, you need to make sure you've got the space to store it. You know, in freezers, fridges and things like that. They are a good investment. You don't have to use them all year round. Obviously, you know, you can try and keep them as full as you can, but as you start to empty one, just defrost it and give it a clean. You know, and probably in a season or two it'll have paid for itself. Yeah, once the leaves start getting that sort of palish look, they're not really doing much good for the plant. It's just that they're not getting the sunlight, so they can't photosynthesize. So the plant has to try and keep feeding it nutrients to keep it, you know, in some sort of healthy state. So it just robs it from the plant. So it's better off without it. You know, because I'm not going to take all the heads today, I don't have to worry too much about being too thorough at clearing today. That'll be coming up again probably in a week or so. It is a good idea once you start seeing a tiny curd appear. I mean, these were probably like not even golf ball size when I was down here last time, and it was this one, you know, and it's like 8-9 inches. That it's massive. And yeah, it's a good idea to sort of make a point of coming down as soon as you see the curds, you know, and the heads starting to form. Try and check them weekly if you can, and don't try and gamble it too far, you know, to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Once you look at it and you think that's big enough, take it, because it's better to be slightly undersized than below and go to seed. You know, it does happen, especially in the main season, because you get a dry spell and everything just tends to just suffer, because the plant obviously wants to reproduce and go to seed. The minute it gets stressed, it thinks it's gonna die, so it sort of skips a bit of time and thinks, right, whatever I've got up there, feed it and get, you know, reproduce. That's all they're designed to do, is grow, reproduce. You know, gardening's not that complicated. Plants they've been around longer than us. They know what to do. You just give them a little bit of a help, give them space to grow, and the rest they do themselves, alongside with Mother Nature. And Mother Nature sometimes is a pain in the backside. You know, bugs and weather conditions, but you just try and help them out, but don't pamper them. They don't need to be all pampered. You know, it's a common thing with seedlings. They're given too much of a good time. The minute you go and plant them out in the open, they get blown about and topple over. The thin stems. If you water them too much, the roots are shallow. So the minute a dry spell hits, you haven't got roots down. You know, plants will look for water. You know, so it is pretty much a plant them in. Make sure your bed's nice and wet before you plant it up. Plant them in, water them in, and I tend to just, that's it. They don't get watered again. Unless obviously in pots, you know, or you get a really horrible dry spell. But what's dry to you is still plenty damp enough for a plant. It's a good practice to actually grow something in a pot and see how dry you can run it, and then that's a good way of judging. Because sometimes the leaves will droop a bit and you can water it if you think it's dead or dying. You water it and then within half an hour it's whang, it's back up. And I think I've got most of them for now. Just a case of picking a few of the bigger heads. And any that I think looks suspect. I say it's going to be probably a week before I get down to do any more. So any I'm prepared to take the gamble with, I will. Just trying to, I haven't got any sharp knives or anything with me. Really unprepared. I've got a real blunt one here. See, that'll do, because it's quite chunky for getting the secateurs around. You know, it's a decent size broccoli head, that. More than happy with that. Because bear in mind, I can't remember how many I did originally, 24 or 32, I can't remember. I usually do 32 in a bed this size, but that's if I do 4 rows. But I've only got like 3 rows, so you know, they're not quite as many. I didn't want to overstress the bed, you know, because it's quite fresh still. You know, it needs time. The soil always does better when it's, you know, like a wine, when it's had a chance to age a little bit. It'll do all right. Some of these, it's tempting to leave them, but I would need something to go wrong and I can't get down for some reason. And then you lose a lot when you've had the opportunity, while the net's up, to take them. anything that's you know, a good size for a meal. You know, this is a little bit small, but I'll take it because I can leave them for the side shoots as well, because you do get a lot of side shoots. And they sort of sell them in shops as what they call them, tender stems or something like that, and they're a bloody fortune. And all it really is side shoots. Have a look. Yeah, I'll take that other one there as well, I think. That one's looking a bit, I don't know, I'll take it, it's not the best one. Just looking a bit funky, so I'll take that, and then say it's not massive, but I'll take it side shoots. You kind of get more side shoots than head overall, because I actually prefer the side shoots to the head to eat. Just check I've not missed anything that's suspect. I think we're that one's looking a bit funky. This one's just trying to reach for light a little bit, I think. So, because it starts to go a bit funny like that. Not always the case, like I say, you know, because it wants to put the seeds out. It's not blown, because all these little sort of bobbly bits they'll swell and they'll turn into yellow flowers. And it happens really quick. The flowers will just burst open, and then it's too late. I mean, you can eat them still, but you want a gob full of flowers, which is fine. But like them nice and tight, because they tend to keep quite well in the fridge. I need to do these cabbages now. Just clear the bottoms of these a little bit. Just check underneath, because you get like little aphids. It looks a bit like ash, but it's aphids. So the idea is like kind of carefully. You can blast them off with water. They always tend to live on the most outer leaves, so you can carefully pull them off and just pop them in compost bin. Because your compost bin's full of all sorts of bugs, and they kind of live off each other, I guess. But luckily the broccoli's not covered in them. Like I say, it's just these lower leaves are a bit like a good platform for a slug to climb up, get inside the cabbage heart. And they don't have to go anywhere else, because it's living in its sort of land of food. It's like someone's been under here digging around. You know, I mean, when you blast them with water, it washes them off, but it does kill quite a lot. I mean, there's like weak soap solutions you can put on. I mean, I've tried the neem oil and castor soap or whatever, but to be honest, I mean, it wasn't cheap, and I didn't notice any difference at all when I tried it, you know, on some other plants. So it's just a fact of, you know, companion planting will help. It's just this time of year, early on in the year, you get that about all the bugs. This time of year, it's a complete different batch, and we haven't really got the same amount of predators, you know, because a lot of things are starting to sort of burrow down in the soil to sit out the winter months, ready to awaken next spring to be the next pain in the backside. Well, that's just the way it goes. Yeah, I can't remember the name of these cabbage. What they call Killerton or something like that. I can't remember. But they're not hearting proper yet. They're more like a spring green that's trying to heart, to be honest. They're a long way off hearting. But I did them last year and they were good. So I might use them, because they are sort of like an early season. Obviously they need shorter growing time, smaller heart, which is fine by me. You know, so I might, instead of growing the golden acre next year, I might grow them. Find a little look for anything. You gotta say, I'll try and carefully bring this over to the camera. So They look a bit like, I think they're woolly aphids really, I don't know whether they can see. Look like that. You know, and they're usually, I say, on the most outer leaves. And they hide under there. And they just basically draw the life. They tap in, they suck all the sap through the veins and out of the leaf, and eventually it withers. You know, and the plant's trying to fight them off all the time, so it's better off getting rid of it. You know, because it is a bit of a sign sometimes of lack of light. You get yellowing, but also sometimes right behind where the yellow spot is, could be full of aphids or anything. So it's just a bit of a sort of like general health check of things, and try and give the plants a bit of an upper hand. You know, because they are quite robust. You know, especially at this size. Right, I think I'll pop the net back over, and then I should imagine in the next sort of 2 weeks all them heads will be off, and then beside shoots, if I've got the space to store them. If I can store all this lot, I might try and do the usual of eat the heads, or freeze the heads, and then as I'm picking side shoots, just eat them. Like I say, you know, when you get a load of cauliflower heads and broccoli heads, it's a fair bit of space in a freezer. You know, it's a couple of shelves. At the moment I'm fighting to get a loaf of bread in. But it's all free food. It just costs a bit of time and a bit of work. And the price of stuff in shops now is just getting a bit ridiculous, to be honest. You know, because it's a struggle as it is. We're not working now with being a full-time carer. We're just getting whatever it is, 60 odd quid a week. It's a bit of a joke, really. So we try and think of ways I can sort of raise some sort of funds. Because one of my subscribers I was chatting to a little while ago, and they said, you know, that, you know, do you get money off the channel? Very little, to be honest. Just enough to sort of cover the price of the rent of this plot, and some seeds. Other than that, you know, I've got a fuel and all the other stuff to pay for, so I don't know. I don't want to ask for money or anything like that, so I'll see. I might just put one of them buy me a brew things or something like that on the channel, so it's up to you if you want to support the channel that way. So I know I'll keep doing the videos anyway, but so just every little helps. It's like, what, 10 years next year, I think. Yeah, 10 years next year that I've been doing videos from this plot. Well, it is nice to know that a lot of people have, you know, learnt stuff off my channel. It wasn't my intended, so it was more of a diary thing, really. I did it for him initially. But if my channel's been of any help to any of you, makes it all worthwhile doing. Right, I think I'll get on with picking some beans and maybe cut some sprout greens off, and we'll have a look at everything when it's all picked. That's all the harvesting from today. I've had a, you know, good clear up and that, so I'm going to head home now because it's starting to spit with rain. So I thought, well, you know, instead of standing there getting soaking wet, I've got to get it all over to the van. Don't know where I'm going to put it all, but I'll figure that out as I do it. So we'll have a quick look around to how I'm leaving the plot today, just in case I don't manage to get up again for some reason or not. So this is the bed with the Rigoletto. I've got 2 left. I've stripped the outer foliage off because they're full of, like, you know, aphids and that. Just sort of mounded them a little bit around them. I'm going to leave them, pull some beetroot out. Beetroot weren't massive. You know, they were big enough, like, you know. There's only me who eats it at home. you know, and these cauliflower, the manky ones, you know, and there's they're decent enough. And there's the Rigoletto head, the one of the endives, that's like the frizzy endive or endive, and then you got spring greens, Iron Man, great big bloody courgette. They're the Ferrari ones. Got a bag here with some of the purple ones in, and a bit of rocket. So everything's done all right. So we'll continue having a look how I've left everything. So all the cauliflower is out of this bed now. Got a bit of a rake over, sort of ridged up around them stems a bit, taking some of the lower foliage. What they come to, I don't know. We'll just have to see. But I mean, there'll be some greens anyway. I've done the same with these Durham early spring greens. Taken some out, taken about 3 or 4 out, I think, and cleared some of the horrible foliage off, and then just tried to hill them to support them up a bit. Same with the January King, the Tundra, taking the lower foliage off. I've got one that's toppled over there a bit, but we'll see. If it doesn't perk up and show much signs of life, it's going to have to fight now to get some light to it, so I might end up just ripping that one out. But they're not too bad. They're a bit tatty, but we'll see how they go. But if it doesn't get too wet here through the winter, they should do okay. Weeded that bed. You'll have to excuse the noise because I'm by a main road. And there's a lot of farm vehicles going up and down. So that's all been weeded and had a bit of a hoe. I've pulled all the what are they called? Radishes. Pulled all radish out. These carrots, I don't know, something's sort of like nibbling them off. That's why they're sort of rotting off, I think. But I'll leave them be for now. If they don't perk up, I can just rip them out. There's no big deal. It's just something to put in the bed, really. I need to tidy these up a bit more, so I'm hoping that the growth slows down and I can get these picked back in and then thin them out and just keep a few. Because they are quite, you know, cold hardy until they get a good hard frost. But sometimes they recover from that. I have had them before where I've been picking them right through into January, February before now. I've just taken the full ones of these, and then when I get down to just a few left, I'll leave them to sort of be like cut and come again. It's always good to see how long you can get them to go. Even if you just get a little bit of picking each week, you know, it's better than nothing. And then I've got like the beans I've picked. Some at the end I haven't picked. I've got some, obviously the Prince, and there's some other ones that are a bit like a haricot bean really. So I'm going to harvest them as the actual bean probably. Fruit cage, stripped a load of the foliage off the Brussels sprouts. I put a couple of stakes in just to help stop them rocking around. But they'll be getting ready for, you know, all these will start going that really red colour, the blueberry bushes, and then I'm going to give them one hell of a prune this year just to shrink them down because it's ridiculous this year for blueberries. But they are going down, just made into ice lollies, and they're getting eaten daily, so they're alright for that. That bed is, you know, just got to come back and harvest some more broccoli, you know, probably next week. If I leave it any longer, there's a risk, you know, because there's still a few heads there, you know, getting near. There's a couple of small ones down the middle there. You know, I could probably harvest them when I get the side shoots. So all in all, not a bad day. Come down, didn't expect to get all this lot, so it's all bonus. I wasn't not quite ready for it yet, but you know, this is the thing. You spend the time doing this, and you've got to get it home and prepare it to store. Because if you leave it for a few days and that, it'll just wilt, and you know, it ends up being a waste of time. So you need to sort of get home, have a cup of tea, have something to eat, and then the evening time, when the hours of darkness, you can get on with that sort of stuff then. And then any offcuts can go in a bucket, and then the day after just pop in the compost heap. You know, but next thing to tackle is this potato bed. I need to obviously, you know, get these beans out at some point, and then sort of sheet out and cover it. I've got the manure that's in the heap here, the 2 compost bays, so I might just use it all on that, or put a little bit on each of my beds, and then the rest of it put it on here, because they haven't got any more of that compost here that they've had the last couple of years. They were supposed to be getting some, but obviously not, because that it is handy, you know, because it is just starting to sort of not be too bad, this soil. But I mean, it's had, you know, 10 years worth of stuff on it. It's taken a while because this ground is horrible here. You know, some of the other plots that have just grown direct in the soil, you know, that are newcomers, everything's just not done well because it's so hard and waterlogged. So you know, they've just been asking like, you know, what to do, and I just put like a big 4 or 5 inch layer of stuff on and let the worms deal with it, because the soil underneath just ain't any good. It needs to be sort of incorporated, but don't break your back doing it. The worms will do it through the winter time. Just stick a big cake layer on top, cover it over and let it do its own thing. So thanks for watching, take care. Like I say, I'll try and do a video from the garden. Well, I've got a bit of time with the computer, I can do some actual editing. I'll see what footage I've actually got on my own PC, if I can get it off the hard drive alright. Should be able to put it onto a memory card, you know, and then transfer it across that way, and try and whip something together. It'll be probably a video of bits and bobs, or I might put it at the end of the gardening video. There'll be a lot of bits and bobs of whatever I've managed to do that I've not been able to put up yet. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. See you now, bye bye.